10th edition sure does love its character interactions. It has become a lot like Age of Sigmar in that case, and that is roughly where it got the idea from. But it also harks back to the earlier versions of Warhammer 40,000, the editions before 8th edition. You had independent characters, which were actually not independent at all. They joined units, but they could also leave units and run around by themselves if they so wished. Then we got 8th and 9th edition when it was all about auras, and a load of confusing different rules to explain when and how and if a character can be shot. Now thankfully it's much simpler, but some of it still needs explaining. Leaders. They join squads, and they do not get to leave them. So leaders are not quite the same as independent characters were in previous editions. Once you put a leader in a unit, which you do before deployment, they are one unit for all rules purposes. Once that unit is together, it is an attached unit. So 10 acolytes with a Primus, they will have a starting strength of 11. So it needs to lose 6 models to go below half strength and then have to take a battle shock test in the command phase, before getting models back through the banner at the end of the movement phase. If you have a leader and you choose not to put them in a unit, so if you want a hospitaller that's running around healing different characters, but she's running around by herself, she won't get the lone operative special rule. It will tell you on the data card if the unit has lone operative, so the hospitaller by herself won't get lone operative because it isn't on her data card. Just because you deploy her by herself doesn't mean she gets the special rule. So she can still be shot. Characters with the lone operative rule that aren't deployed in units, and it will tell you on the back of the index card which units a character can join. Lone operative characters can't be shot if they're more than 12 inches away. Much simpler than all of the stuff we had in previous editions. When you're putting characters in a unit, it is usually only one. But some characters have exceptions to this, so here is an imagifier that specifies that you can add this leader to a unit that already has another leader, as long as that leader is a canoness or a palatine in a squad of battle sisters. So there's some wording to check there. It isn't just, oh yeah, you can double up with this particular character. It'll tell you which units it can join and which other supporting units it can go with as well. So you can't have an Imagifier and a Dialogus in a squad of Sacrosancts, and you couldn't have an Imagifier and a Dialogus in a squad of Battle Sisters either. Normally, just one character. Sometimes, as in this case, you can have 2 characters but under special circumstances like the specific unit. So you'll often find that Lieutenant-style characters can join a unit that also has a Captain-style character. What if that whole unit gets attacked? You always use the toughness of the bodyguard. You don't just use the highest toughness in the squad, which can sort of suck if you've bought the Leviathan box set and you want to put your Neuro Tyrant in a squad of Neuro Gaunts. Then all of the shots will go against its toughness of 3. That includes precision attacks, so even though the sniper may be deliberately targeting the Neuro Tyrant, they roll to wound against the Neuro Gaunt's toughness of 3. Maybe makes it not the best idea to put the Neuro Tyrant in that squad. As the defending player who's getting shot, you may find that a lot of firepower is coming your way, so if a Battle Sister squad with a Canoness and a Imagifier in it is being attacked, you might think, haha, well I will activate my Canoness's ability to get a 2+ invulnerable save for this phase. That won't help, because you cannot deliberately choose to put damage on your own characters. Even though they're a model in the squad, you have to assign damage to bodyguard models first. Then, if all the bodyguards are killed, any remaining wounds from the attack can get assigned to characters. So cunning as it is, the Battle Sisters do not have that sort of shenanigan. When you are being attacked normally in 40k, if you have assigned damage to make a save on a model in that phase, you have to keep assigning damage and rolls to that model until it's dead, then you can pick a new one. This is also the case if you have any wounded models, so if you had a Space Marine Intercessor squad with a Primaris Lieutenant, if one of the Intercessors had lost 1 wound, you have to assign damage to that model. The exception to this is characters when, let's say, some heretic with a sniper hits your Canoness and she takes 2 wounds. Now that is a wounded model in the squad. However, you don't keep assigning damage to her even though she's lost wounds. You put the wounds still on bodyguard models until they're all gone. We talked a bit about snipers before. Precision specifies that you target a model with the character keyword. So when you fire a precision weapon or attack with a precision weapon, you can only target character models, not anyone in the squad. Units share all keywords, but the rules commentary advises you to check if it refers to a model or the unit. Firing an anti-psycho weapon like the Condemned Bolt Gun at the Neuro Tyrant and Neuro Gaunt, the attached unit does have the Psyker keyword, because as an attached unit, the bodyguard and the character share all the keywords. So any model in that unit can be wounded by the Anti-Psyker 2+ Condemner bolt gun, not just the Neurotyrant. The psychic keyword is the example used in the rules commentary, so I'm very sure about that one. Other rules only affect certain models, so the fly keyword is a good example. If attacked by a weapon with anti-fly 2+, a Battle Sister squad with Junith would have a Battle Sister wounded on a 2+. The attached unit has the keyword, and unless it has precision, the wound has to be allocated to a bodyguard model. When moving though, the fly rules refer to models with the fly keyword, not units. So Junith is the only one who can fly and move quicker on the battlefield. The sisters do not become acrobats just because Junith is in the squad. As soon as the bodyguards are all dead, that is a unit destroyed. The Canoness and the Imagifier become characters by themselves, two separate units. So if the enemy needed to destroy one unit, they have destroyed one unit. If there were any persisting effects, a common example would be Oath of Moment. If someone, some dirty heretic, someone who uses space wolves, I mean look at these, they're clearly disgusting mutants, and they use chaos armor parts to keep their units going in combat. That is all kinds of heresy. So you might find yourself playing against some space wolves, horrible werewolf creatures. Of course, if my opponent was playing Space Wolves, I would be very polite. But inside, I would be seething, going, oh, look at these awful dog creatures. Not like a good boy thing, more like a matted, haggard, mangy creature. So you're fighting them. They have used Oath of Moment on your Battle Sister Canoness Imagifier squad. Once the Battle Sisters are all destroyed, the Imagifier and the Canoness both are subject still to the Oath of Moment. So whatever effects were placed on that squad when it was a whole, now persist on those individual models once it's split. There is now an Oath of Moment declared on both of those models, the Imagifier and Canoness. Now we've explained how all of the damage works when you're going against characters, let's look at the damage and abilities we can put out. I've classified all of the different abilities that we have into 4 different groups. The first one is a unit ability. So if a unit has an ability, that applies to all models in that unit, including the characters. So the Paragon Warsuits have Righteous Paragons. They are eligible to shoot and declare a charge in the turn when they fell back. That is true if they're by themselves as a unit of just Paragon Warsuits. It is also true if they're joined by Morwen Val. When an ability on a unit refers to this unit, it includes all the models. So adding Morwen Val to Paragon Warsuits will not remove this ability. Similarly, a Battle Sister unit has Defenders of the Faith, so all the models in that squad will have that ability. So if you had an objective that had the Hospitaller in a unit of a squad of Battle Sisters on that objective, you would generate a miracle dice from it, because you have a model from that unit on that objective, even if that Hospitaller is the only model in range of the objective. Then we have model abilities. So these will specify that the model itself is doing it. So a Hospitaller has Sacred Healing. You can select a friendly character within 3 inches of this model. So it's not an aura around the squad of Battle Sisters that she's in. It is just within 3 inches of that model. The Missionary has Holy Piety. Each time this model makes a melee attack, it can reroll the hit roll. So that wouldn't apply to any unit he's joined. Those models wouldn't get to reroll their attacks, but just the Missionary would. There are also some abilities that only happen when a character is leading a unit. So the Missionary again has War Hymns. While this model is leading a unit, melee weapons equipped by models in the unit have sustained hits 1. So that would apply to all of the models in the unit, but if he was by himself, either from being deliberately deployed alone, not a great idea because he wouldn't get lone operative, or if his bodyguard was destroyed, that would stop taking effect. A model by itself is not leading anyone. You can't be a leader of just yourself. And the fourth kind of ability are unit abilities that only happen when they're being led by certain characters. So the Crusaders have Spiritual Fortitude. While a Missionary or Preacher model is leading the unit, all the models in that unit get a 4+ Feel No Pain against mortal wounds. So if you deploy the Crusaders by themselves, they don't use that ability. If their character is killed by sniper fire with Precision Special Rule, that ability stops working. That should cover all of the different abilities, all of the ways you can damage units, and generally how characters work in 10th edition. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to click a subscribe button. And my darlings and viewers, this is why Death Star units are no longer viable. Have a great day of 40k.